Welcome to Roots and Branches of Lehi, the podcast where we get to know the faces, stories, and lives that make up our community. I'm Ryan Harding, and I started this podcast as a way for us all to connect with the people we live alongside. Growing up in a small town, I learned that connections go beyond blood. They're built through shared experiences, friendships, and the moments we celebrate together. Each week, we'll sit down with someone new from Lehi to share their unique story, their passions, and what they love most about living here. So whether you've been here for years or just arrived, join us as we deepen our roots and reach out to our branches one story at a time. Welcome, Donna Barnes, to Roots and Branches of Lehi, where we get to know you. One of the citizens of Lehi here.
Longtime citizen. That's right. So, in fact, talk to me about that. So, were you born and raised here? I was born in American Fork Hospital.
American Fork, okay.
And raised in Lehi.
Okay.
Right up about a block up the street.
Wow. Okay. So, long time.
Long time.
And have you always stayed in Lehi, or did you come back?
Never moved.
Never moved. Okay.
We've lived in our same home now for probably 56, 7 years.
Okay. Good amount of time. That's a good amount of time.
We've seen all the growth.
Yes, you have. Talk to me about Lehi back, growing up and stuff like that. Obviously,
it was a wonderful town, very rural.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, there were probably, I would say, 4,500 people.
Okay.
Farming community.
Yeah.
My dad was a farmer. Mm-hmm. He owned some property up on the North Bench. And most of the families were farm families.
Okay.
And I think in my graduating class, there were about 120 kids.
Okay.
And everybody knew everybody in town.
Yeah.
We knew all of the leadership. We knew the good kids, the bad kids.
Sure.
We knew where to go to have fun.
Sure.
We knew where to go to have not so much fun.
Sure. You knew it all.
We did. It was a great place to grow up.
Yeah.
And we've lived here. We got married in 1964.
Okay.
And I raised my kids here. They all graduated from Lehi High School.
Okay.
And they bemoan the fact that it's gotten so big.
Sure. It's hard when something you love so much does change, which, I mean, the world itself has changed, I guess, too, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, the nostalgia of that past, right, is sometimes hard to let go of.
Yeah, for sure.
So you said mostly a farming community and stuff like that. And did you say your dad was in farming too then?
He owned about 360 acres. Actually, Skyridge High School sits on my dad's farm.
Okay.
So everything that was Ivory Ridge, all in that area, belonged to my dad.
Okay.
He was, in fact, he was the first farmer in the area who actually did a soil test to see what kind of nutrients the soil needed, sent it to Utah State.
Yeah.
And when the results came back, he would always fertilize. He had beautiful crops.
Wow.
And he worked night and day, hardest working man there's ever been.
Sure.
Irrigated, and his biggest complaint was there wasn't enough water to keep his crops green.
Sure. Even back then, I guess, right?
Even back then.
Yeah, okay. And what kind of crops did he grow?
Oh, everything. He had wheat and barley and milo and 1 year peas and, harvested crops.
Yeah.
He didn't, I'm trying to think if he had alfalfa or hay crops. Maybe once or twice he did that. But mostly it was fall harvest crops.
Okay.
And all of us worked at the farm.
Yeah.
I was driving a truck when I was 8 or 9 years old.
Yep.
Everybody had to pitch in to help.
Yeah, that makes. I grew up in North Dakota, I was telling you, and I had several friends that had farms, and they were driving very young also, right? And so, that's what you did. It's you gotta help out, right? You gotta pitch in.
Yep.
So, did he farm his whole life then? When did that? Obviously you owned a lot of acreage. He owned a lot of acreage. Obviously you've sold a lot of that now. When did that happen? How did that take place?
He bought the farm in roughly 1945.
Okay.
And I remember when he came home from work, we lived in the city.
Yeah.
Well, in Lehi.
Sure, yeah.
Our home was not up on the bench because Dad hated the wind up there.
Okay.
But he came home and it irrigated all night, and he came home tired. And I remember him saying to my mom, he says, "Hon, you know what? I don't have enough water to keep this green." And that was about 1956. And then he sold the land to the church
Okay.
for $65,000.
Wow. They got a deal. They got a good deal.
Yep.
And so he sold it all then?
He sold it all to the church. And then years later, they sold a lot of to Ivory Homes.
Okay. Okay.
And that is what Ivory Ridge is now, is my dad's farm.
Is your dad's farm. Wow, that's awesome. You mentioned you're married and stuff. Did you meet your husband here then in Lehi? Is he a Lehi guy too?
He is.
Okay.
Yep.
And
he lived on the west side of town, and I kind of lived on the east side of town. And we met at a basketball game.
Okay.
So he's always loved sports, and we happened to meet there.
Yeah. Okay.
But we dated for a very long time.
Did you?
Yeah.
And how many kids did you say you have?
We have 5.
5 kids. Okay.
And Marlon was a school teacher, longtime school teacher at Lehi Elementary.
Okay. Yeah.
And he spent 2 years in Orem, but the rest of his career is at Lehi Elementary.
Okay.
And he sees his old students all the time. And
I'm sure.
He's embarrassed when he can't recognize them. I said, "Hey,
sure.
you were 5th grade."
Yes, exactly.
They change a little.
They've changed a lot. Yes. Yes. Yes, they have. So that's awesome. Yeah. I know my kids all remember their teachers a lot, and they went to Meadow Elementary, and so just down the road and stuff like that. So, but yeah.
Well, he was a great teacher.
Yeah.
Had a great bunch of people that he taught with.
Sure.
And it was a great time. He
Yeah.
retired after 30 years.
Okay.
And then he bought a dump truck, and he's hauled for people for 25 years.
Oh, really? Just something he enjoys doing then?
Just something he loved to do.
Yeah. Okay.
So he had 2 careers.
Yeah.
Both he loved.
Yeah. That's awesome. Talk to me about you then. So, full-time mom during that time?
No. I went to Utah State for 2.5 years.
Okay.
Got married and went to BYU. It was not my favorite experience.
Yeah.
And there were various reasons, but
Sure.
graduated from BYU in education.
Okay.
I taught high school English, drama, speech. I started my career at American Fork High School.
Okay.
And then I kept having my family. And back then, if you knew that you were expecting a baby, you had to tell the superintendent, and you were terminated.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
So it was a gal at a Lehi High School,
Yeah.
Donna Clark,
Yeah.
and she sued the district and said, "You cannot make me quit."
Yeah.
And she won, and
Good.
from then on, women could be pregnant and teach.
Okay. Okay.
So she was responsible for a lot of women being able to, further their career. But
Yeah.
back then, women stayed home.
Yeah.
They did not work.
Yeah.
That was kind of the mode of living.
Sure. Was there a lot of male teachers then back then?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Many, many more male teachers than there are now.
Okay.
Which is unfortunate.
Sure. Yeah.
Don't get me going on education.
Well, we can talk about it a little bit if you want. You're just saying it would be nice if there was more male teachers. Is that what
We
you're saying?
need more male teachers.
Yeah.
Particularly, I think, I was a junior high counselor for 14 years.
Yeah.
And in those critical formative years, those young men need a good, strong male role model.
Sure.
And there's getting fewer and fewer and fewer in the profession, which is, I think, tragic.
Yeah.
I know why, but it's
Sure.
very sad that we don't have more males.
Yeah.
My kids were fortunate to have some wonderful male role models in
Yeah.
their education programs.
Well, you bring that up, and I just think of my own history. And I do remember my 5th grade teacher, actually, ironically, was a male, Mr. Wolf, and he was a little more gruff and stuff like that. But it was good for me because I needed a little more study habits that I hadn't been doing as much and stuff like that. And I think he actually helped me. I mean, between him and my mom, trying to do things to help me be a little more studious and stuff like that. And so
yeah.
So to your point, actually, I think I do agree with that. It'd be nice to see more males in there. A lot of times they're in administrative positions, but not as many
Well,
teachers,
they feel like they have to move into administration to earn enough money
Sure.
to provide for their families. And that's, I think they've got things backwards. The money needs to go into the teacher salaries.
Sure.
And not that I don't appreciate administrators, I do, but the real strong teaching needs to be the money needs to be with the teachers.
Sure. The front lines, the ones that are actually doing the most good there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you were a teacher then for a lot of your life? Then?
I taught for 30 years.
Yeah.
Well, I had to quit for a couple of times,
Sure.
and then I went back.
Yeah.
And I got a master's degree in educational psychology.
Okay.
At BYU, and I was a counselor. Never did really intend to be a counselor. I
Sure.
love teaching very, very much.
Yeah.
But I went into counseling and was a counselor for 14 years.
Okay.
I was a counselor at American Fork High School for a time, at AF Junior High for a time, and
Yeah.
at Mountain Ridge Junior High for a time.
Okay.
So I
Wow.
dealt with teenagers
Yeah.
a lot of my life.
And something, any stories stand out from you, from that time? I mean, what do you take from that teaching time? What stands out to you, I guess, as far as something you enjoyed from it?
I love teaching. And back when I was teaching, things were quite different.
Yeah.
We didn't have professional development. In fact, I remember my first year at American Fork High School, the principal showed me my room and introduced me to my colleagues. That was it. And here were my textbooks that I would teach from.
Yeah.
And so I was pretty much left on my own. And I appreciated the teachers who would kind of give me some guidance.
Yeah.
But you pretty much it was a experiment at first.
Sure.
And I loved that, and I loved the kids.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed teaching kids. And so when I see my own kids, I have 4 teachers of my own children, and then I have several grandchildren who teach too.
Oh, wow.
And I see what a difference there is from when I started to what they do.
Yeah. And talk to that about that difference. What has it been a good difference? Do you see education it is improving and stuff like that? Are there areas where you see, more needs for growth and stuff?
This is what I saw, both as a teacher, counselor, and then a school board member. Parents demanded more accountability from teachers. And so we had to test them. So testing became a huge part of curriculum development. And we have now the Common Core, and we developed curriculums, and then the kids were tested on it. And I have ambivalent feelings about all that testing. I know in some of the countries in the world that have the highest achievement test scores, as far as kids in their later educational experience, they don't test in junior high. They don't test in elementary school. And I really worry about we test and test and test. And I have kids who hate to be tested that much. And I think it makes it difficult to meet the needs of all the kids when you've got testing benchmarks that you have to meet.
Sure.
So I'm not a fan of all the testing that goes on. And, this is what happened when I was at the junior high. It was interesting because I was in the first faculty member. I was a counselor at Mountain Ridge when we opened the school.
Okay.
And at AF Junior, there had been honors English taught in 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. So I guess the parents just assumed there would be honors English. So we hired an honors English teacher, and she was to prepare a test. This is a true story. To select which kids should be in her honors classes.
Okay.
She only had a handful of kids who passed the test. So, and it was getting close to the time when we had to have schedules made, and the master schedule had to be made. So I went into the principal that I dearly loved. Sheldon Worthington was his name, and and we said, let's just do away with honors English classes for a while. And there was a pushback. But it was a wonderful thing, because when you separate kids according to their ability, especially in junior high, it isn't a healthy thing. So I noticed that it was 2 or 3 years after that, then no junior highs
Did any
had
kind of
the
honors.
separated
Yeah.
classes, the honors classes. And we do that in math kind of automatically,
Yeah.
but English, nah, not
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah. Well, you bring up the testing, and yeah, I can see where a lot of that people are wanting some account. I mean, you mentioned that's what it comes from is accountability, right? We're trying to keep teachers accountable and stuff like that. Are there better methods then? Do you think? I mean, how do you balance keeping people accountable, but also, yeah, I mean, the test is maybe not the best way, I guess.
If a teacher comes on time, spends the day with those kids,
Yeah.
the ones who are doing well as a principal, as a parent,
Yeah.
as a colleague.
Yeah.
And testing creates an anxiety for the kids.
Sure.
And I remember one time there were several teachers, and all they wanted to teach were the smart kids. They wanted to teach the higher level math, or they wanted to teach. We had a couple of AP classes taught in junior high.
Yeah.
Well, everybody clamored for those kids, and I
Sure.
thought, no, this is not right.
Yeah.
Because I saw some of our male teachers
Mm-hmm.
who could really discipline and handle the male students much better.
Yeah.
And so I saw the teachers kind of self-selecting the students in their classes.
Sure.
And then some classes that had a few behaviors were given to male teachers,
Yeah.
honestly.
Sure.
So, and I think that's just a natural consequence of what happens in schools. But I'm not a fan of all these achievement tests.
Yeah.
I think it is hard for parents
Yeah.
to see their children maybe not in the 99th percentile.
Right. Yeah.
And we all have gifts.
Yeah.
And these achievement tests really test 5 things.
Yeah.
And so kids get feelings of inferiority based on test scores, and it's not a healthy thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Or the reverse, they or superiority, like, hey, I'm really, smart.
Sure, yeah,
And it's
I
like,
got-
well,
I got
actually,
in the 99th
yeah,
percentile.
you might be here, but you're not, people smart, or you don't understand like other things. I mean,
Sure.
I mean, I can think it can go both ways, I guess, right?
Yeah,
And
right.
so, I mean, obviously, teaching has improved a lot over the years. What things have you seen that have gotten better in teaching and education?
That's an interesting question. I don't know if they have gotten better.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, maybe as far as test scores are
Sure,
concerned,
sure.
and that's what people look at,
Yeah.
but our class sizes are still about the same as they've always been,
Yeah.
too high.
Yeah.
35 kids in a classroom is really a hard thing.
Yeah.
But teachers who have the ability to relate to kids and to have rapport, and they'll always teach well.
Yeah.
I think professional development has given teachers who maybe struggle a little bit with curriculum some helps.
Yeah.
And I've seen that, and that's great.
Yeah.
I don't know if kids nowadays are better educated when they graduate from high school than they were
20,
30,
years. Sure.
35, 40 years ago.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but
Yeah.
I think the test scores, over time,
Yeah.
are pretty level.
Yeah.
I don't think there's been spikes
Mm-hmm.
or real down times. Although during the pandemic, I know there were some real problems that we
Yes.
had
Yeah.
with our achievement test scores.
Yeah. So do you see areas then? I mean, so I guess if you're saying, hey, they're not maybe as good as they were 30 years ago, what things do you think is this something solvable, or is this really just down to it's more individual teacher? It's just having higher quality teachers, I guess, that are, a little more like,
That's important.
I mean, right? I mean, so
That's very important.
I mean, I guess, yeah, that would be some of my questions, I guess, and maybe that's what they're trying to do is they're trying to across the board just standardize it and make it, but really it does come down to individuals, I guess, really. I mean, it's that teacher that really focuses and really cares that makes a difference, but you want to mass produce that, right? How do you mass produce those good teachers, right?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
I don't know, things to think about, I guess, right? So,
Well, I think that, and I even hate to say this, but in School of Rock,
yes, that Jack Black one,
Jack Black movie, there's a line in there, and he says, those who can do and those who can't teach.
Sure.
And that really bugged me for a long, long time.
Sure.
And I think that that's not altogether true, but I do think sometimes that is true.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And are you referring more, obviously, well, there's a discussion at large on a national level with education, right? And with, colleges and different things like that. Are we really preparing students for careers as opposed to just ever learning and never really...
I see that trend.
Yeah.
And I see with my own kids and grandkids. I had one grandson who was really a smart kid.
Yeah.
And he went to the University of Utah, and he was majoring in rhetoric.
Oh.
That was not my choice for him.
Sure.
But he was very good verbally.
Yeah.
And with vocabulary and all of those things.
Sure.
But he couldn't see a future.
Well, what am I going to do? What job do you get with that? Yeah.
Actually, right now, he is an editor for Wildfowl magazine.
Okay.
And doing fine.
Okay, good.
But at that time, I thought, oh, rhetoric, wow.
Yeah. Sure.
No.
Sure. Yeah.
But he quit his education at the U.
Okay.
And he came home once and he says, Grandma, I'm not getting an education, I'm getting an indoctrination. And that kind of, oh, really?
Yeah.
And he saw some of his professors as people who did not share his same value system.
Sure.
And that troubled him a little bit. And he was paying a lot of money. He was on partial scholarship. He was helping with the softball team. But he thought, I don't need to come here and have people tell me things that I don't really want to believe.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense. And I think a lot of people are feeling that way about, colleges in general, which is sad because, I'm very pro-education myself. I want my kids to go to college and stuff like that and but I'm always, and maybe this is because for a living, I do mortgages, right? And so I see a lot of financials of people. And oftentimes I see sometimes large amounts of student debt, and the job they're working at does not compensate for that. And so I always wonder, I'm all about education, but let's make sure it's education with a purpose, right?
Right.
Like, okay, I'm going to do this and this and this, and I get this job, right? I mean, my two daughters, one wants to be a nurse, one wants to be a school teacher, right? And so it's like, hey, great. I can see where, college will help you get there, right? There's an end result here. But I think sometimes people are forever in school, never really knowing, they're just, it's just this scared to kind of get out in the real world. And I get it. The real world is scary and it's hard to work and different things like that. But I think hopefully as a nation, we need to better prepare children for real life. And I think having these discussions is good. So,
well, you have the Charlie Kirks of the world and the Mike Rowe's of the world who say you don't need to be indebted to get a good job.
Yeah.
And I know a young man who went to MTech, getting his degree in welding and pipe fitting.
Yeah.
And as soon as he graduates, he's been offered a job for 6 figures.
Yeah.
And I think, oh my gosh, 2 years with a certificate and very little debt.
Yeah.
Why would you argue with that?
Why would you argue? No, I agree. And I do like that the trades are becoming a path for people. I mean, what I tell my kids is just get good at something, because the world will pay you if you're really good at something. If you're not really good at anything, then they don't know what to do with you.
Right.
But get good at something, whether that's college level or skill level. I mean, I don't care. I just want you to work hard, and you'll have success, I think. And so
true. And I think the kids are leaning more toward certification in a trade.
Yeah.
MTech is booming.
Yeah, I've heard that.
And I know there's waiting lists in various programs at MTech.
Yeah.
And I'm thrilled about that.
Yeah.
I've seen what it's done as a counselor. I've seen the accountability out there. The engagement with kids. It's a thrill for me to go out there and see what's happening.
Yeah, good. Anything, speaking of education, anything else, that you feel if you were in charge of everything, what would you do? How would you make things better,
I dreamed. I've had these dreams.
Of being in charge, right? You get to do it all.
Yeah, I would pay teachers better.
Okay.
I think that...
Which then might help get more male teachers, to your point.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
I think there's been some progress made, but I think there's a general feeling that, it isn't a valued profession as it used to be. Mm-hmm. And I feel bad about that.
Yeah.
And it's becoming more and more a woman-dominated field. These are second income earners or single women, and there's nothing about that I object to, but
of course,
teachers deserve better. Mm-hmm. I know in Finland and in some of the Scandinavian countries, teachers are up there with lawyers and with doctors. Their pay is commensurate with what those people do.
Sure.
So I think that would be helpful.
Well, and I guess it would also solve the other problem with, if it goes back to just having good, smart people, capable people, you are going to attract, money attracts talent, whether we like it or not,
it's
right?
True story.
I mean, it attracts talent, and so you get more money there, you're going to get, ideally, better quality. Not that, I know there's a lot of good teachers now, that are just not paid as well, and they want to do it, right? But you would get better, I guess, more demand for that, right? So.
Well, I'd love to see, 5 or 6 or 7 applicants for a position.
Yeah.
That would make it more competitive and more valued.
Sure.
So, yeah.
And so let's back up a little bit. So you mentioned, you were a teacher for a long time, a counselor. You also served on the school board then too?
Right. I retired, and then I ran for the school board, and I was on the school board for 8 years.
Okay. Tell me about that. What motivated you to do that? Why did you want to do that?
Because I'd been in the schools for all those years. And I did have an agenda.
Yeah.
I was, at that time, there were 7 board members.
Okay.
And we had we had 3 board members from Orem area.
Okay.
And 1 from Pleasant Grove, 1 from American Fork,
okay,
and 1 from the Highland Alpine area, and then 1 from Lehi.
Okay.
And I was, at the time, all the growth started in Eagle Mountain and Saratoga Shores, Saratoga Springs, and I was thinking, we need another board member out in the west side.
Yeah.
Desperately.
Sure.
And it didn't happen while I was on the board. Oh. Well, a woman did run, and she won, of course, because everybody, and it was right that she
won. Yeah.
That she won, because there was such an influx of so many families.
Yeah.
And I remember at one time, I had 29 schools that I was kind of responsible for.
Yeah.
And another board member from Orem had 9. So there were some inequalities that I saw there.
Sure.
And I was very much a proponent of a district split.
Okay. And so I was going to ask you about that, actually. So tell me, so you're happy that took place then?
Very much so. And had to.
Yes. Okay. And tell me why. Tell me why you feel that way, I guess.
Because the needs, here's an example.
Yeah.
One time there was a huge snowstorm, and we had a little school up in Cedar Ridge Elementary, and that snow up there in Highland was so thick and so deep, coming down so fast.
Yeah.
And it wasn't over in Orem.
Yeah.
And so here the Orem people didn't see the necessity to let those school kids out early, catch their buses, and go home.
Sure.
So finally, when it was time for the buses to come, they couldn't get up there. So the kids had to stay at school overnight.
Oh, wow.
And I thought, this could have been anticipated.
Yeah.
And we should have taken care of it then.
Yeah.
And it's just, you wouldn't think there would be that much difference between Highland and Orem, but there was.
Yeah.
And the needs of Cedar Ford and Fairfield and Eagle, they weren't being met.
Yeah.
So I felt like we needed to split the district.
Yeah. And we got that. Yeah. So I think it's going to be very good. I ultimately, some people it seems like everybody's kind of just been like, all right, hey, even the ones that were maybe against it are like, well, we got it. Now we got to do it. I have friends on the school board or they work for Alpine School District administration, and they're like, okay, yeah, now we get to go to work, right?
Well, there's been a need for a while.
Yeah.
And I know that the district was very much opposed
Yeah.
to a split.
Yeah.
And I know there was a lot of fear associated with that. Will we keep our benefits? Well,
Yeah.
Will we have an opportunity to what's going to happen?
Sure.
And
sure.
anything that's unknown is very frightening.
Of course.
But my son teaches in the Canyon School District at Alta High School.
Okay.
And they split off
I was
from
gonna
Jordan.
Yeah.
And I've talked to him many times about a split, and he said it was the very best thing that could have happened because
Oh,
all
really?
the growth was going out to West. Harriman High School got to 3,000 kids, and the suicide rate at Harriman went through the roof.
Oh, wow.
And so it was a good thing for them, too.
Yeah.
So smaller is better.
Yeah.
And when you're closer to the people that you serve, you can do a better job.
That makes sense. Because then you're able to see what needs
Absolutely.
they have, right?
Right.
You're able to address those as opposed to, and you're right. Anything that's new is scary to people, and I understand that. And they would say, economies of scale, right? Because you can, hey, we're so big.
I heard that until I got nauseous.
I'm sure, right? Yeah. But ultimately, I'm guessing there's still a point where, hey, you're still big enough that you're able to get,
Absolutely.
whatever you need still.
I see. For 7 years, I taught in Murray.
Okay.
Murray is their own school district.
Okay.
And I got a taste of what it's like to have one high school, 2 junior highs, and a handful of elementaries.
Sure.
And it was amazing.
Okay.
Because decisions could be made like that.
Yes.
And it was just funny because everybody, we had strangers who came off the streets that would eat in our lunchrooms because our lunch ladies could go and, anyway, it was quite funny because they had flexibility in what they could do.
Sure.
And we had an east side and we had a west side and we had a very diverse student body.
Yeah.
And I loved that.
Okay. Yeah.
It's good.
So it sounds, I'm more business minded. So it sounds like the benefit of the smaller is it's like a small business where you're able to, we can make decisions very quickly here, right? Pivot left or right.
Sure.
But a big corporation, there's benefits to a big corporation, but as far as moving quickly, that's not something you typically think of.
Exactly.
Of them doing. And so I'm guessing Alpine had maybe gotten a little bit of that going on with them, I guess. So did you find that when you were on the school board? Decisions. Tell me about your time, I guess, again, on the school board when you were
Very
there.
frustrating.
Was it?
Very frustrating. I left many meetings in tears. I really did because I remember, maybe this is getting a little bit personal, but I remember a meeting and it was at Meadow Elementary.
Oh, okay.
And we were discussing the remodel of Lehi High School. And I knew that my patrons did not want another remodel of Lehi High School. It's
Sure.
on the smallest footprint in the district.
Yeah.
And it had been remodeled and remodeled and remodeled and remodeled. And we needed a new school because we knew that parking would become a problem eventually, which it is.
Which it is now, yeah.
And so I watched that whole process. And at that meeting at Meadow, I said, if you put another remodel of Lehi High School on the bond, no one in Lehi will ever vote for it. And one of the board members that was there with us, there was about 5 of us, said, we don't need them. The superintendent looked a little flushed, and he says, yeah, we do. But there was that kind of attitude.
Sure.
And I was angry because it's like our voices weren't heard. They didn't know what was going on out here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was hard, frustrating.
Sure.
Because Orem pretty much dominated.
Yeah.
Because they had 4 votes. They had the 3 Orem and the PG, and they all voted together. And then the 3 of us, the AF and the Highland Alpine and Lehi, well, it didn't matter how we voted.
Even though we're probably representing more, because all the growth's out here. The Orem's run out of room, right? So all the growth is here still. So
well, and that was at the beginning.
Okay, sure.
That was at the beginning of the growth, but I could see what was happening.
You could see, yeah.
So, yeah. And the response time, anyway, it was slow.
Yeah.
Slow moving.
Anything you're proud of as far as your time there? Like anything that you're like, hey, I was a part of this or that, or think something that
Well, I remember a developer was planning a huge development in Vineyard.
Okay.
It's right when Geneva Steel had been sold, and they
Yeah.
were starting that development down there.
Yeah.
We had a developer come to one of our meetings and want an RDA. And I was, why would we give them a tax break when they're bringing, and it was a housing development,
Yeah.
when they're bringing all of these kids,
Yeah, we're going to need the money.
and we need the money.
Yeah.
So I said, no, that is not something we really ought to do.
Yeah.
So I was glad that I spoke up about that.
Good. Yeah. Help fund the schools, right?
We
So-
actually do need an impact fee for education.
Do we?
I am very much in favor of an impact school fee.
And for anybody that doesn't know, talk to us. What is that, and how would that work?
Well, developers come in and they pay impact fees for infrastructure, for various things that you have to have, but they don't have it for education.
Okay.
And so there's not an incentive to keep housing under control. It's just bring them in and
Sure.
we'll figure out a way to educate them.
Sure. But you're saying, but where does that money come from? I mean, obviously property taxes. So when there's more houses being built, there is more property tax base, I guess. But you're saying that initial, because obviously to build a high school takes a lot of money up front, right? And then to run the high school is the taxes maybe. So that's where you're saying, hey, that initial fee would be nice to have to help
Sure.
fund those,
Right.
Okay. That makes sense.
Developers would never go for it.
Sure. Yeah. Well,
And we have a lot of developers in our legislature.
we do. And housing costs, we're trying to figure out ways to bring those down, I guess, too, right? But that'd be nice if just interest rates came down and then we could,
Sure. Yeah, I'm rooting for that.
Yeah, me too. Me more than you, maybe.
Probably.
So, anything else from education, from your time in education? I know we've kind of talked about this for a little bit, but anything else, any other stories or anything stand out?
I love teaching, and I love the teachers.
Yeah.
And I think they work so hard. And I see what they do and how much they care just through the members of my own family.
Yeah.
But with my grandkids, I mean, I could tell you story after story after story of how teachers have made a difference in my kids' and my grandkids' lives.
Yeah.
And I remember I had a granddaughter that went to Freedom Elementary. And she was so excited because they were planting a butterfly garden right outside the school.
Yeah.
And she came home so excited, Grandma, we're going to have butterflies right outside our school, and we haven't seen butterflies for so long, and was so excited about that. And I thought, oh, that just, it just warms your heart.
Of course.
And all of them have had those kind of experiences. And I have a granddaughter in the 7th grade at Mountain Ridge right now, and she has a teacher she just raves about. Comes home, oh, I love Mr. Geddes. He is the best teacher.
Yeah.
And so, I love teachers.
Yeah.
And I love what they do, and I love their influence. And, they're probably the most important component in our society there is.
Yeah, I agree. And so it's good that these conversations are being had on how to improve things and make things better. And we always want to make things better, right? And
Sure.
so hopefully we can say 30 years from now that it's better. You bring up, is it better, on some things? And that's a good question. That's something to ask. And so obviously we need to improve on some of these things. So, well, I've not even gone over my questions here, so
Don't ask me anything really hard.
Well, so did you own a business in Lehi too?
I did.
Okay, so let's talk about that then a little bit. So,
In 1995, a building came available for sale about 4 houses up from where I was raised.
okay,
Right there on 517 North. No, it was 1265 East 900 North.
okay,
And it was the oldest standing home in Lehi. And it was built by John Beck.
Okay.
And it was owned by the Strasburg family, and they had kind of passed away. And here was this old building. And I had heard that they were going to tear it down and put a car wash there.
Oh,
And I was horrified to think that would happen.
sure.
So I talked to my husband, and I said, what do you think about buying the Strasburg house?
Yeah.
Why? I said, because I don't want to see it torn down.
Sure.
And he said, well, we could probably turn it into a rental. and we had a duplex.
Sure.
And so we thought, okay.
Yeah.
So we made them an offer that they took.
Yeah.
And got it kind of fixed up for a rental. And then the city said, no, that's in a commercial zone.
Oh.
You can't use it as a rental.
As a residential suite.
So I thought, okay, what do I do now?
Yeah.
So I have great friends who are artists. And I thought, well, we'll have a little Christmas boutique in it.
Okay.
Just for once, and then we'll decide.
Yeah.
So I asked some of my friends if they wanted to come and bring what they made, and we'll have a little Christmas store.
Yeah.
We called it, at first, we called it Scrooge and Marley's.
Okay.
Never expecting it to last beyond Christmas.
Yeah.
And I had to go to market and buy a few more things to fill it up, and it turned out to be so much fun, and I could hire my grandkids and my relatives to work there, and it was called Scrooge and Marley's, the Emporium of Country Gifts and Furniture. And it was a great place. It was fun.
Yeah.
Anyway, not so profitable, but
Sure.
it was just a lot of fun.
Sure. Sure.
So I had that for almost 20 years, and my sister worked there, and people loved her, and they went there for therapy. And then we went through the Beanie Baby phase.
Yeah. Okay.
And that was an interesting experiment.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Because it got so popular that we would not put out our new Beanie Babies until Saturday morning. And then people who we knew would come to buy the new beanies, they had to draw paper out of a basket for their place in line to go in and buy beanies.
Because you'd sell out, I guess.
Oh, it was just incredible.
Yeah. Wow.
So I've never seen such a phenomenon.
Yeah.
And luckily, we had bought enough of Ty Warner's other plush that we could buy what we wanted. And he was really restrictive. I mean, within a certain area, you could only have this many Beanie Baby stores.
So he knew what he was doing, obviously, to drive demand.
He's a marketing genius.
Yeah.
He really was.
Yeah.
So we did Beanie Babies for a while, and that was great fun. And then we did home shows. We did decorating for a couple of home shows. I had really great employees who were so helpful.
Yeah.
And it was great. But I needed to put on a new roof. So, interesting story. I talked to a city person and said, "Do I need a new roof?
Yeah.
Do I need a building permit to put on a new roof?"
Sure.
And he said, "Well, yeah, anything you can see from the road, you'll need to get a building permit." And I thought, "Oh, brother, then I've got to make ramps and I've got to upgrade it so it's user-friendly." And so it was built in 1867, and it was a very rickety structure.
Yeah. Yeah. 1867 is a long time.
So it had quaking aspen floor joists, and it had rocks, for foundation. And I just decided I can't afford to do all of the work that's required.
Yeah.
So I had someone come to me and say, "I would love to buy it, and I will make it a replica of the old building."
Okay.
So that people will have an idea of what the oldest house in Lehi looked like. And so I sold it to him.
Okay. Because he would do what you wanted to.
And they did.
He wasn't going to make a car wash.
Wash gone.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Good.
So it turned out great. Do I miss it? Oh, yeah. It was fun.
Yeah.
But.
Well, it's not, like you said, it wasn't necessarily as profitable as it maybe you'd like, but it was enjoyable. And like you said, employing grandkids and some of those things, it's just, those are great experiences, right, together.
True story. And, it was, and I saw, in fact, Gail Miller would come in often.
Yeah.
Because I had a woman who made these incredible dolls that they were carved, and the clothing, Santa Clauses and witches and amazing. She was brilliant.
Yeah.
And she would sell them through my store, and Gail Miller came in and bought quite a few of them.
Because she liked that, yeah, sure.
Because she liked them. In fact, her name was Susan Ewing, and Susan made her one to her specifications, and it was great. Mrs. Miller was driving this convertible, and Larry was in the back of the convertible hanging on for his dear life.
That's awesome.
It was great.
That's good. Oh, good. That's awesome. And you have a little bit of, history with businesses, I guess, in your past too, right? Because your mom worked at the paper too? Is
My
that right?
mom she started working for the paper. She was in a club
Okay.
with Russ Ennis, who owned the original Lehi Free Press.
Yes.
And Mrs. McMillan, who was the editor, was ill.
Yeah.
And so Russ asked Mom, would you go in and fill in?
Yeah.
And Mom went in and never left. She was
Yeah.
there for almost 22, 23 years.
Yeah.
A long
Wow.
time.
Wow. And tell me any recollect or any memories from that time, with your mom doing on the paper, anything you want to speak to on that, I guess?
My mom was an incredibly hard worker, and she loved people.
Mm-hmm.
And she wrote the paper.
Mm-hmm.
She did the layouts for the paper. She kept the books for the paper.
Wow.
And every Tuesday, often, she would provide lunch for the. And when I see what we do at the Free Press, I can't even imagine how she did it for all those years.
Yeah.
But she had a unique ability to draw things out of people, and she'd write these stories sometimes about our family, which we weren't too thrilled about.
Sure. You're like, Mom, come on. Leave us out of this.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
But it was a great thing for this city
Yeah.
because she loved sports, and she loved to brag about the kids who played sports. Well,
Yeah.
anything they did.
Yeah.
She was our #1 cheerleader for Lehi. People loved her for it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was a great thing.
Do you tell me your thoughts on now seeing your sister kind of take this back over and stuff like that?
She moved back from California.
Yeah.
And she asked me one day, Donna, we haven't had this Free Press for a while. And I said, no, I think it's been 8 or 9 years.
Yeah.
She says, let's do it again. And I kind of shuddered. And she said, I know the business end of it.
Yeah.
Will you help me write? And I said, I can do write. I can do the writing.
Yeah.
That doesn't frighten me quite as much as the other part.
Sure.
So we took a trip out to Tooele, and we got the publishers out there who printed it to buy into it, and from then on. And at first, there was just Sal and I and a handful. I mean,
Yeah.
I did the city news, I did the planning commission news. I mean, a lot, and she did, and the very first issue, we published the plot plan for Hobart Farms,
Okay.
and it was a double,
Yeah.
and we got probably 300 or 400 subscriptions after publishing that, because people in Lehi want to know what's going on.
Yeah.
And there hadn't really been that much interest.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was a good way to start.
Yeah.
So, and it's just kept going from
Sure.
then on.
Sure. I think that's yours. Oh, you're good.
Anyway, that we got started, and it was up and down.
Yeah.
And Sal is amazing businesswoman. She balanced things and borrowed from Peter to pay Paul, and
Yeah.
I don't know what else she did, because I kind of stayed out of that part of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so far, it's been almost 10, it'll be 10 years in March.
Yeah.
And we've had wonderful people working for us.
Yeah.
We love Becky Beaton.
Yeah.
She's amazing. And many of the others who've worked for us.
Yeah.
It's been great. And what I found is that people want to know.
Yeah.
And the more they know, the better decisions they make about things.
Yeah. Well, the information, right? I mean, you have to have the information to make a correct decision.
And we've tried, I mean, it's very important to Sal and to me that what we print is right
Yeah.
and objective.
Yeah.
And so we've kind of stayed a little bit out of the political realm.
Sure.
But lately it's gotten kind of
A little more political, right?
a little more political.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's election year, and you got several offices that, are bigger here, I guess, right? So.
Well, and there's been some things lately that have happened that have been troubling.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
I guess it's like anything political.
Yeah.
So it's been hard.
Yeah. But it sounds like, in some ways, you obviously one of the things you enjoyed about that other job was working with family, you get to work with family again now, with your sister and stuff, right?
And we have many debates.
Yeah.
I promise you that.
I'm sure.
We don't see eye to eye on everything.
Sure. But that's good, though.
And
that's
good.
That's frankly, we need more of that. I mean, if we all live in our little echo chambers, that doesn't help anybody, right?
Absolutely.
We need to have disagreements on different things. It doesn't mean we disagree on everything, but
Well, I used to be, I was an avid newspaper reader.
Mm-hmm.
I took the Tribune, I took the Deseret News, and I saw the Tribune become a terrible one-sided paper.
Yeah.
And then the Deseret News went away, and now all they do is publish once a week a commentary in the Church News.
Yeah.
And so there's nothing. The Herald, and maybe I shouldn't even say this, but the Herald doesn't have a lot of news in it.
Yeah.
And so we need, and you cannot, my opinion, you cannot believe what you read online.
Yeah.
I have become so disillusioned with social media.
Yeah.
And so where do you go to find out what is true?
Yeah.
And that's kind of our motive, is to present things that it's the truth.
Yeah.
And maybe we've offended people, I'm sure.
Sure.
Well, we know we have. But we try and get the truth.
Yeah. Well, in an age where, you're right, with social media, anything's, because anybody can print anything, print is the wrong word, but, post, I guess, anything, right?
Absolutely. Well, I read a month or two ago that Dolly Parton had died, and we loved it. And I said, Marla, Dolly Parton's died.
Yeah.
And she's died. And no, she hadn't died. That was ridiculous.
Sure.
So you never know what to believe on social media.
Especially now with AI, and you can make videos of people doing different things. Like, okay, this isn't real anymore. I can't believe my eyes on different things.
Crazy.
It is a different world we live in and stuff.
Yeah.
So good. Well, I'm glad you guys are doing things that help bring truth out there, right? And especially on a local level. Your sister said this when I met with her, but like, Lehi's lucky to have the Lehi Free Press, and I agree with that. To have a place that's, just for Lehi, that's just focused on Lehi and the probably surrounding areas to some degree.
Well, we've
right?
kind of partnered with the American Fork Citizen to revive it.
Okay.
And Rob Shelton has been great. He publishes himself, pays for it all, a once a month paper that's distributed all over American Fork.
Yeah.
And so, I think that's important.
Yeah.
And sometimes the truth gets very thin.
Yeah. And do you see, papers, obviously for a time, papers kind of went downhill. Do you see, perhaps a resurgence with,
No, it's too expensive to publish hard copies.
Okay.
When you can do it online. And we have an online presence, and that has by far more followers.
Yeah.
The reason I like a hard copy is we can do more.
Yes.
And there's something legitimate about holding a newspaper.
Sure.
It just feels better.
Yeah, I got you. Okay. But that's good you have an online presence and stuff, because that is where a lot of us get our news. I know, me personally, that's where a lot of things I read and stuff. But
right, and you get the ones you can trust.
Yeah.
It's true.
Anything else on that part of things, you want to talk about?
I think that's probably all I can tell you about the Free Press.
Okay.
Oh.
Going back to Lehi and stuff like that, obviously you've been here a long time. Anything you would like to see Lehi implement or things to, how can we make Lehi better, I guess, if, or is it great, already, and we don't have any problems, I guess.
We have problems.
Of course, yes.
It's too late. That's kind of our evaluation.
Sure.
I live now on 900 North, 1200 East, and both of those have become thoroughfares.
Yeah.
I can't let my little ones out on the front lawn because the roads are too busy.
Yeah.
And that makes me very sad.
Sure.
And I know with this push for high density, that's fine because kids need places to live, or people do.
Yeah.
But it comes at a cost.
Mm-hmm.
The traffic is a nightmare.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why my husband quit driving truck, other than the fact that the engine blew up. But he said it was getting so hard to maneuver.
Yeah.
There were times a day when he wouldn't even get in it because you couldn't get around.
Sure.
So traffic has become hard. And that old town feeling
Yeah.
where everybody knew everybody, and it's kind of gone away.
Sure.
And it's different.
Yeah.
And it's hard to adjust.
Sure.
Old timers are moving out.
Mm-hmm.
I know several families who have moved Sanpete County or moved somewhere else.
Yeah, little smaller areas.
A little
right?
smaller area. Mm-hmm.
And so, those are some of the negatives. And so talk to me about, obviously you still live here. You're still active in the community, still doing things. Tell me what you like about Lehi. What are we doing right? Why is Lehi still a great place to live?
Good people.
Yeah.
I think our schools are excellent.
Yeah.
And we now have amenities that we didn't have
Mm-hmm.
when I was growing up.
Yeah.
I mean, a Costco, for heaven's sakes. Who would have thought?
Right.
And, there are, I don't know. It's hard to say what is good about Lehi because I love Lehi and I have lived here so long. I would love to see more parks and open space.
Okay.
I think we've missed the boat on that
Sure.
a little bit. Kids need places to play,
Mm-hmm.
and I have grandkids who play sports,
Mm-hmm.
and I go around to some of these other communities, and I see these facilities
Mm-hmm.
that they have to play ball, and we're sorry,
We need those
we're
in those.
lacking,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I don't know why we can't understand that it's important, but we just don't. I mean, Spanish Fork, my kids play down there quite often, and it's amazing to me to see what, and they're doing it in Payson, and they've got beautiful parks in Salem Hills and Salem and some of the other areas.
Yeah.
And I think we are woefully under what we should have for open space, regional parks.
Yeah.
I know I was on a panel, they had a meeting where they were discussing what to do with Main Street. And this has been about 10 years ago. And I went down for the paper.
Mm-hmm.
And they were going to tear out Main Street and make it a thoroughfare
Okay.
because we needed
Yeah. More.
Yeah. And this was before Pioneer Crossing.
Okay.
And I remember one gal stood up, and she was a meek little young mother.
Yeah.
And she just got up and she said, "I will be damned if everything I love about Lehi is ruined, so Eagle Mountain and Saratoga Springs people can have a faster route to the freeway."
Yeah.
And she got a standing ovation.
Oh wow.
Everybody there
Just love
applauded
that.
her.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought, that was a good thing to say.
Yeah.
Because sometimes in being forward thinking, and I was on the planning commission for a couple of years.
Okay.
And, they get these grandiose notions about development where you work, live, and play, and
sure.
all of that stuff. And not here. In fact, I have a pretty good relationship with the PR girl for the prison land.
Yeah.
She says, I couldn't live like that. I couldn't live in a community that's work, live, play.
Sure.
Because I take my kids to piano lessons. I take my kids to ball games. And, we have to get in the car and drive.
Yeah.
And that's the mindset of most families who live in this area.
Yeah.
They have 3 or 4 or 5 kids more, and they take them places.
Yeah.
So that whole idea that they developed of live, work, play doesn't work for our families.
Sure.
So we have to be careful, I think, about buying into something that looks good in San Diego or something that looks good on the East Coast, because we're not them.
We're not them. Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Emphasize what makes Lehi good, right? I mean, focus on those things, I guess, right? So, Donna, this has been great. It's been great to get to know you. Been great to get to know what you've done. Obviously, you're very much a part of this community, and trying to make it better and still trying to do that. And I love that you're still involved.
I'm getting old.
Hey.
I told Sal I can't do this too much longer.
Sure. Well, but good for you for still being involved and doing stuff. And obviously, family's important to you. I love that you've found ways to be involved in your kids and grandkids and your sister and your family, all these different people's lives. And so I think you've
It's my joy.
I can tell you enjoy it, right? I mean, you wouldn't spend years and years and years if you didn't enjoy it. Not many people can if anybody can spend a day doing that, but if you enjoy it, that's where,
Oh, for sure.
yeah, a lifetime, right? If you spend a lifetime doing that. So good job for you. Is there anything, that before we end, anything that we didn't cover, anything that you wanted to add,
I don't think so. I think pretty much everything.
Okay. Well, thank you for, lending us some of your time and letting us get to know you. And thank you also just for being a big part of this community. And
It's been my joy and pleasure for sure.
yeah, well, good. Well, thank you, Donna. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on Roots and Branches of Lehi. I hope today's story helped you feel a little more connected to the people who make up our community. Remember, every person here has a unique story, and together, we're what makes Lehi feel like home. If you know someone who would be a great fit for this podcast, please fill out the form in the show notes so we can reach out and schedule an interview. We'd love to hear from you. A big thank you to our sponsors, the Work Harding Home Mortgage Team and Play Harding Nightly Vacation Rentals, for supporting this show and helping us bring our community closer together. Until next time, keep growing those roots and reaching out to your branches. Take care.